Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Have returned for the final week of our Summer Showdown qualifiers, Matt. And if you look at the for the day, but the good news is
it was like, oh yeah, well, come at the second match halftime, and well, we were here for a while. We saw most of the first match and the second match, but these last two should be pretty good ones to round out the day.
No doubt about it, Matt. Let's have a look at our updated standings now. Obviously, following the previous two matches of the day, we can see that the Mayhem obviously had a win to the record, but the two teams going head-to-head in this next match, the Uprising and the Titans, well, the Vancouver Titans have a chance to stay in that top echelon, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, look, they win this, they can get to 2-1. Realistically, they would upgrade their map differential, right, by at least to tie the Florida Mayhem. So the Titans have a really good position here going up against Boston, who struggled to make a real run for a top seed here.
Now, we've had to get up to speed on what to expect from the Vancouver Titans pretty quickly, and that's kind of changed every week. I mean, Vancouver looked, fairly slow coming out of the gates, but they had huge shoes to fill. But the utter capitulation of the Dallas Fuel against them, in their last match was a bit of an indicator that something might be in the water. And obviously, Shockwave comes in, he pilots the Echo, and he looks incredibly good in that role.
Yeah, and I think the Titans, look, they've come in and not the best look right at the start, but this is a team that's really started to gel, I feel, with, and especially around Shockwave, like you mentioned, he's been a huge factor in terms of their damage output. And I think, with Dalton and Shockwave, those are the two players you really look at this team that are making the biggest impact at this level.
And you got the leadership of the veteran Rolf there driving them forward. But yeah, we talked about Shockwave a couple of times, Matt, and he remains a part of the conversation because obviously when we saw him on Echo last time, it was actually disgusting what he was able to put out.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, there's no hero pools this week, so with that being taken out of the mix, you expect to see him go back to those sort of comfort picks a little bit more. It wasn't only his gameplay that looked very good. We were actually able to go take the eye test from the gameplay, compare it to the numbers, and see that his statistics were insane. For perspective,
right,
to have more than 4 solo kills per 10 minutes.
It's kind of crazy.
This is a small sample size. I think he just got over the minimum 60 minutes of game time, but that is crazy, almost unheard of.
I mean, look, number 1 in sticky bombs as well, 2 in focusing beam kills, final blows is in second, so you can see the impact that he's made on Echo, and now with no hero pools for the next 2 weeks, you look to him to be one of the best players on that hero.
Now, we're talking deeps, Matt, because right now that seems to be where all eyes are, especially with the resurgence of Genji.
Yeah.
And, Boston obviously want to try and leverage some of their weapons in that department, and that is probably one of the strongest parts of their team, outside of course, Myeonbong being an incredibly strong flex support. Jerry's looked very good. Colorhex, his performance has definitely fluctuated a lot. His Mei looked really lackluster. Boston were not winning team fights with the Mei in the mix, but, when he had a chance to go over and play some different heroes, and now with hero pools sort of not being used, maybe there's a chance for him to put on some of those really rare performances that really impress us.
Right, we know what heroes that Color Hex is good at. It's just we haven't been able to see him play them that often this season, and with the way the roster is, he's kind of forced to play in a lot of those situations.
Yeah, now we did get a quick word from him as well on, where Boston are at right now and what their outlook is with hero pools not being in effect currently.
Yeah, there's some changes to be made between the hero pools being unlocked, the different hero changes, and the map pool. There's a lot more room to be creative with all the heroes unlocked.
Always nice to hear a little bit from the Kiwi Keanu Reeves. He's just starting lineup for the Boston Uprising.
Who
It is
calls
Jerry
him
and
that?
Colorhex. Bro, he looks just like Keanu Reeves.
He does not look like Keanu Reeves.
Chat, he looks like Keanu Reeves.
Oh, yeah. Pander to the chat to get them on your side, right?
Well, I mean, I need a second opinion, or like a 150,000th opinion, whoever's out there, because you saw when Keanu Reeves was at E3 with the beard and everything for the Cyberpunk
nobody
thing,
was like... Yeah, when he walked out, nobody was like, oh my god, it's Color Hex. Like, no, everybody knew it was Keanu Reeves.
Bren, I know you're watching and memeing, but make a poll on Twitter for me, Bren, and I want to see. He looks like Anyway, let's have a look at our map set. Keanu Reeves going to lead the team. It doesn't look like Matrix Keanu Reeves. It's like later on in the piece here. So he's got some wisdom, got some maturity about him. And the Boston Uprising are looking to leverage that against these young guns, the Titans, who are looking for their second win here in the Summer Showdown. Matthew,
there's a part of me that wants Boston to win just so he can interview Color Hex and ask him what his opinion is on.
I am not the first person
Keanu
to say
Reeves.
that. I guarantee you. Someone else has said it first. Doesn't mean that's a good thing. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, obviously our first map of the series will be Lijiang Tower. Remember, our assault maps happen in map 2 now, so Hanamura will be around the corner, but all eyes are set here. Do we see that Genji come in? We don't really know if Vancouver Titans are going to look to make much use of that, but with the deflect changes, the less spread on the shurikens, the extra damage is all good for the Cyber Ninja. Color Hex, don't play May. I beg of you.
I mean, would be kind of funny if he's able to play everything now and then he picks the one hero we were just talking about him not performing well on. But we'll see. It seems like with a lot of the hero pools opened up, right? I thought we would go back to a lot of like just kind of tracer compositions with the Brigitte in play. But we've seen a lot of Genji, as Genji's gotten some nice buffs recently, and then also it becomes extremely impactful with the Brig armor too. So Boston, they go double shield, and then they go Reaper with the May. So they go with like an old school style comp, where Vancouver, they're going to have the Hammond in play.
Yeah, classic feel for this one. Obviously, the Titans are going to have the Echo here for Shockwave. The Uprising, they really want to make use of this Reinhardt, Matt. None of this Orisa Sigma nonsense. So let's see. They're going to play all pretty close together in what is a fairly safe composition. Once they force Dalton away and they've got rid of that recall, so he won't be able to bother him quite as much for the time being, they can try and capture. Rolf, very wide angle here, but Color Hex is not able to find any purchase with those icicles, and now they want to push forward, try and catch KSA, who's able to get out, and Color Hex has to go the block.
Yeah, now you'll start to see the Wrecking Ball come in, start to just knock people up, and then they get a quick kill. Shockwave takes out Color Hex, but Myungbong using the Coalescence, trying to keep everybody alive here on the point.
Now, but he spent a little bit of time trying to get rid of KSA, and Treadlock sends him over the edge. This one is already exciting to kick off with. Shockwave there on the Reinhardt, of course, he's duplicated that. And the Titans are happy to see Fusions play, Ryan, because they get an extra tank to add to their variety with duplicates.
And where Vancouver's composition excelled there is that once the May wall was baited out, then Shredlock could go in, get that big pile drive. They could really start to put the pressure on. I'm really interested to see how it works now, though. Like, they don't exactly want to go super aggressive into the May with the double shield composition, especially because the Reinhardt could put out a lot of damage. So do you allow Boston to kind of take some space in the point? And nice shot there from Color Hex, who takes out Dalton.
That's a high-value kill, getting rid of the Tracer for essentially free. It was just speculative shots from the endothermic blaster, and Color Hex gets a big one. Shredlock is low. He tried to drop a minefield behind the rest of his team, and has to be a Transcendence now for Rolf. Jerry wants the Wrecking Ball. He'll have him too. Throws it up at an easy target for the Reaper. And Color Hex holds onto a Blizzard now, but really doesn't want to have to use it. He lets it go, though. Shockwave is knocked out a duplicate and frozen stiff in midair. The Boston Uprising get the retake map, but some big ultimates had to be offloaded.
And I think they use that Blizzard because Shockwave uses the duplicate on the Color Hex, so Shockwave turns into May, and they're scared of him getting a Blizzard really quick with how fast Echo could build up ultimates, and then end up losing the fight because of it. So they invest their own Blizzard, and they get Shockwave out of that duplicate right away, and they're able to take the point.
Uprising now still having to contend, of course, with that Echo, but Color Hex picks him out of the sky. Color Hex, 3 final blows, and remember, we don't often sort of see May doing the lion's share of actually getting these kills or securing them. Often it's the setup, the slowdown, the wall utility, but Color Hex actually has the big 3 final blows right now, and it's putting in a huge effort. Let's see if Dalton can avoid getting put on ice in this next fight. It is 24%, should I say, to 63.
Well, Karkar has also got a rally here, so there's going to be the ultimate from the Orisa. Punk is going to fall really quick as Jerry's going to use the Death Blossom pushing on forward. But still, this will be a fight there. Boston, where their composition excels, Mitch, is just being able to control the point. Like once they get a split off with that May wall, that's when they can really go in and make this composition work. The last time we saw it didn't work when they got the May wall split is because KSA was able to just go so far around it, and then they just kind of waited it out and then went in when that cooldown was up.
Well, the most painful part about dealing with Vancouver's composition is they're so dispersed all the time. No one has to group up, and in fact, the kind of the antithesis of their comp. So Boston aren't able to get as much Death Blossom value or big blizzards. It's just harder to get. Shockwave's forced back here. He does have a duplicate, but as a Coalescence in play. The copy is onto the Reaper and straight into the back line. The Paratrooper goes. Shockwave finds one. Teleports now to the backside of the fight. So quick he almost snapped the necks of the Uprising as they tried to follow where he went. Ooh. And then he drops in. Shockwave, huge performance in this fight. The Danish Dynamo laying down the law. And the Uprising get kicked out again.
It would have been a double Death Blossom. I mean, he did get the second one off, but he didn't get any kills with it. But Halo using that sound barrier, it's just a few seconds too late, and they have lost so many players at that point. You'd love to probably have that ultimate going into this fight if you're Boston, but you do have this Blizzard, so you have to get a fight on the point here if you're the Boston Uprising. That's what you want to do. You have Blizzard plus Shatter.
Fusions. There's one person you want to have behind the wheel when Reinhardt is ready to shatter. It is this man. He hasn't wanted to play Orisa. That's Punk's job apparently this time around. They push up to the point. They don't want to push too much further forward now, especially with the minefield in play. So Fusion's trying to clear some of that early in the fight as much as he can. But Dalton gets in and he gets the Golden Goose. Punk's gone down. Halo's removed now by the minefield, and around the side comes Shredlock. Now Blizzard again. It's so hard to catch the Titans in it. No one was really bothered about it. Just a nice pleasant breeze for the Titans as they make their way through. And the Boston Uprising absolutely devastated. Try to play a grouped up composition, but they get picked to pieces by Vancouver. Close first round, but the composition definitely looks better in the hands of the Titans.
Now, let's see. It's going to be Fusions gets on, just get a touch here. It doesn't look like anyone will be able to get towards the point, so that'll be that first round in the Titans' favor. But yeah, I agree with you. I think the Boston, like, playing together, playing close, right, playing more of a control-oriented game, like, it worked out at times. And I do think that there are going to be, like when we go inside here to Control Center, I think this definitely plays more towards the strength of having May Reaper than what we previously have seen. It looks like the Titans also going to change their composition up a little bit as well.
Yes, as we're heading towards Control Center now, maybe the Reinhardt offering just a little bit more value here. There's less ways to flank and come in from off angles. It's a little bit more of a direct approach that the Titans will have to opt into. The Doomfist for Shockwave, I can feel that. Plenty of opportunities for environmental damage. Symmetra sent him forward, and Kalex is on the May again. Look, I take back what I said, man. He looked good on the last round, but it wasn't enough.
Doomfist into a Symmetra in the May and with a Baptiste is going to be really difficult to play into. As you see Halo take out Shockwave there. As like Immortality Field, May Wall, just the ability to just multi-freeze, right? All of this makes it very difficult for the Doomfist to get anything done, but even without Shockwave at the start, the rest of the Titans just barrel through the front line of the Uprising.
And that was, you're exactly right. I mean, they were short-handed in that fight map, but a speed boost from Karkar sent them straight over the top. And the Boston Uprising, even though they had an Immortality Field, they used it quite early, so they didn't have it for that late push.
Yeah, I mean, also a big advantage for the Titans in that type of situation is when they're pushing on forward, they do have all of the healing that Moira can provide, right? As opposed to like having the Baptiste. Baptiste can do pretty good healing, but not in that burst type of like heal everybody as Moira can.
Punk is getting hammered by this Coalescence right now. Again, an early Immortality Field had to be used by Myeongbok now. What are the ramifications of this going to be? Fusions though, a big Earth Shatter, and the Titans, no opportunity to take advantage of the lack of immortality there from Myeongbok.
Oh man, Fusions just steps straight through the Orisa shield, and a bunch of players line up there. For the Titans, I think it may have been like a 4-player shatter, at least 3.
It's up there with the most cathartic experiences, Reinhardt, because the Orisa is constantly just chunking your shield down.
Yeah.
You can't even hold your shield and walk towards her, but when you get a step past her barrier and just shatter it down, it feels so good.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was like, once you can close the gap and get past the shield, it feels great. So, let's see what the Titans try and do here to take this point back. It'll be an early sound barrier from the Uprising.
Rather early, but it keeps Jerry alive, actually. He got stunned by the looks by Shockwave, who had to get out there. Meteor Strike back on him, but he's caught by Jerry instantly. Fusions goes down. Only one shield now left for the Boston Uprising, and Myeongbok has lost his Immortality Field. Not ideal. KSA and Co push over the top. Karkar goes straight in, gets rid of both DPS.
And there you see that the Titans are able to hold on to that sound barrier a bit longer. Like, Boston really didn't get much of anything with it. Like, the fight had just begun. Boston decides to use it really early. And they don't even have it when the Titans drop their Supercharger, right? Both teams drop Supercharger at the same time. The difference is the Titans also have a sound barrier to go with it. Where the Boston Uprising just kind of have to hide because they burn the sound barrier so early.
All right, Shockwave. Wall makes the punch a little bit harder, but they want to push up either way. Blizzard, Shredlock caught in it. Rule trying to keep the team up with the Coalescence here, but Fusion charges in, and Shredlock could only look on it. He was encased. Like Han Solo felt like when he was getting carted around the galaxy. Either way, now it'll have to be Dalton to step up here and try and stall out a little bit longer. The Titans might be happy, though, at 73% here.
Absolutely. The Titans, they'll be able to come back. They have that shatter of their own. Dalton with the Death Blossom. See if he's able to get anything with that. Really not a lot of great opportunities to flank and get an angle here. Boston could very well win this next fight, though. They have Window plus an Earth Shatter, and they also have their own Death Blossom. That'll be that Baptiste ultimate right at the start, and they get that pick off. So Shredlock actually invests his Shatter into this, which is interesting. It gets nothing in response here from Boston.
Yeah, even more interesting is that, you know, Dalton goes down there, so, you know, maybe you try and combo the Death Blossom and a Shatter in some way or form, but there's so many shields that Reinhardt's often just try and go for the shadows here, Matt, because I mean, between Fusions and Punk, like, and you have to thread the needle to get a big stun.
Yeah, maybe he thinks he's going to be able to thread the needle because they're pushing on forward into him, so the Reinhardt's not going to have his shield up as much, and the Aris obviously can't move the shield.
Wow, here's a Death Blossom for you. That's the Jerry. Dalton pops out a Wraith Walk, able to get a response and kill, though, and he has a Blossom of his own. Tries to push up him, he gets shattered immediately, and Fusions once again turns up. And the Titans couldn't get a clean fight. Now the Uprising stands tall on the point. And a couple of mistakes, man. A couple frazzled moments from the Titans. Some interesting old commitments. Puts them on the outer for this round to make it into 3 rounds. And
I'm honestly surprised the Titans committed to Doomfist the entire time. Like, did you really feel like the Doom was that impactful in that round?
Well, I don't think Shockwave got any final blows in that round, Matt. Maybe one.
Nah, there wasn't a lot of, like, disruption going on either, which is something that you usually would want to see from your Doomfists, right? Like, a Doomfist can be effective even if they're not getting kills, just by kind of you know, being a disruptor in the backline, causing chaos, forcing out some of the support cooldowns and whatnot, but we didn't really see any of that either.
Well, the Boston Uprising, what will it be from Color Hex here? Or Dave Grohl, or Keanu Reeves, or Kiwi Jesus? Will it be May again?
And now you're just making things up.
They're all accurate. All of them. Okay, Tracer, that'd be interesting. See what he can do here. Dalton obviously was on the Tracer in that first round. Color Hex yet to show a little bit of his flexibility.
So you have the halt combinations with the Ash Dynamite for both teams here. So looks like Shredlock taking it a little bit low here with a headshot. So he's gonna have to like back around the corner, get all healed up. As Halo is now on the brink, so we'll see how this affects what the Titans try to do. Is Boston may be able to get control of the point first?
Oh, I mean, this is definitely that press W composition that people have been talking about, Matt. The brig map with the double shield.
What's interesting for me here is that, like, Boston had an opportunity to take point, and it looked like half of their players went point, and then half of them split off over towards that right-hand side. Like, it seemed like they were really disjointed. They didn't have the greatest idea of where to go together. Where my opinion was, I think if they would have went to the point, they probably would have been able to take it, or at least like force a really good team fight on the point. But being so separated, they allow a few of their members to get taken out over here by the Mega Health Pack, and then they're never able to make anything going.
Getting value out of Ash's Dynamite here is probably pretty important. There's not a lot of burst healing available with the compositions the way that they are right now. Getting past those shields, though, not an easy feat. Okay, interesting. Amplification Matrix there from Rule. Trying window shopping, but not opting to buy anything. No kills. It was actually Shockwave that found 2. And he's at large right now, able just to flank. Dalton finds a couple of his own, and it is the DPS of the Titans that are writing the story right now.
And that's kind of what we thought this series would turn into, or at least potentially could turn into in the beginning when we were talking about it. Dalton and Shockwave have been so good for this Titans roster. Even in their losses early on, you know, not really Shockwave because we didn't see him for a bit, but Dalton specifically was really strong player. So Titans, oh, by the way, Mitch, they're going to get out to about 65% here. And we really haven't seen like a fight. It's just been like 3-on-3s on either side of the map.
Yeah, it's been picks. It's been very dispersed, split gameplay, which is ironic considering these teams are, or it's odd considering these teams are playing with double shield. You'd think they want to play together, but Bob, the 7th man, comes in.
Well, this type of play style, I would say, definitely favors the Titans over the Uprising. Like the Uprising, we're trying to force the composition at the beginning to force like more team play, more control. And then now they're kind of playing the Titans game, so to speak, kind of playing a little bit looser all over the place. The Uprising coming to this, potentially final fight territory. You know, just with a Bob right now, they'll get a few other ultimates online, but player or two gets picked, it'll be too late.
Jerry needs to get rid of Shockwave early, but it's been a duplicate now. There's going to be 2 ashes for the Titans. It's too much ash to handle. Bob comes out from Shockwave. He built that awfully quick, and now they'll just head on to the point. They'll just sit there and be happy they're done with it. The Vancouver Titans. We talked about Shockwave's ash at the start of this game, Matt, and it showed up, especially when we got to that round 3.
A really odd way to end the map as well. As both teams, there's not really many, like, what you would kind of consider, like, team fights going on. It's just kind of a few players over on the left side, a few players trying to go through the main choke. Nobody really able to get anything going except the Titans there, right? They were able to just shut them out completely on the final point. So
Boston ready to play this composition? Does it look like it's like the understanding of how to play the comp is a bit off, or is it something else?
No, I think it was just like some of their... It had to be like a teamwork thing, right? At the beginning, they're able to see a switch early. They have like control over the point side, right? And then all of a sudden, like a few of their players end up over by the Mega, and they're not able to take advantage of what would have been positioning on the point in that type of situation where they could have just kind of played behind shields, played behind cover, and forced a fight on the point. They just kind of split out and then let the Titans take the fight to them on one side, then double back towards the point.
Interesting, Matt. The best look right now for the Boston Uprising, it looks like Reinhardt and Orisa, of course, with Punk on the Orisa. Fusions stepped up when it came to Reinhardt time, but it didn't last them the entire map. So first one's going to go over towards the Vancouver Titans. Looking good. The Danish edition continuing to fire. We'll see if they can keep up the streak after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. The Overwatch League is brought to you by HyperX. Unleash your style, unleash your fury with HyperX Fury Memory. And by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
It's been a pleasure watching these guys come into their own and improve every week. I don't think any of them have more than a year of experience, and it really shows in just like how hungry they are to improve and to show everybody how good they really are. And it's just super motivating as a player who's been around for a long time, to play with these guys and really put in my all.
Yeah, it's nice to hear from Rolf there. And when he says that he's been around for a while, that is potentially an understatement.
Yeah.
The guy's been playing since June of 2016, I want to say. It was like the first team he played with. It was before Method. It's called One Shot, I think.
Yeah.
Way back. This guy's been around for so long. And yeah, it's kind of a cool, like a mix of old versus new, and obviously guys like Kaka, but he's been around for a while as well. Like he had a long stint with Fusion Uni, so these guys have been in the scene for a while, but they are taking it here to the Boston Uprising, and they look way ahead.
Yeah, and you can clearly tell that they are extremely motivated, right? We have not seen this team really slip week to week from really every angle. They've been getting much better week to week, right? And I think that kind of speaks to some of the time that Rolf said that they're putting in outside of the league games, practice, etc. So good to see them see success here.
And I think what we're actually seeing from these two teams is a little bit of a departure from what a lot of North American-based Overwatch League teams have been playing. We saw like a lot of bias towards Genji in a lot of the compositions over the last few days. But we see it a lot in Asia, like the Ashe Tracer is still the go-to setup with this composition. So neither of these teams have shown they want to go towards Genji yet. They're playing, definitely something we see more from a lot of our Korean players and obviously players over in the APAC region. So a little bit of a counterexample for you guys at home to compare the two regions of the two comps, because they seem to be the two most popular ones right now. Now, Hanamura may also force some compositional decisions that fall outside of the norm. Maybe Color Hex wants to spite me again and play May and play it well. That would be fine.
May's always been good on Hanamura, at least on the defense point A, right? But then we've seen May in the past be used on offense to get a more advantageous wall and push people back. So it's a possibility. We'll see.
If we get this double shield set up here for the Titans, I mean, seeing tons of Echo still mixed in here for Vancouver. Obviously, bear in mind, we talk about the difference between comps and regions, but, we're only just now getting to remove hero pools for the time being, so teams now get to sort of choose what they want once more. It'd be interesting to see if the Boston Uprising now. Look, we saw Roadhog tried to use in against double shield comps a couple months ago. Early on in our quarantine life, it looked okay. I think NYXL tried it, but don't expect to see too much. Punk, though, is really showing some depth of hero pool.
Yeah.
Boston go towards the standard tank setup. No Ryan Orisa this time.
No, and I don't think there's any reason to include Roadhog. I think Roadhog is, in theory, like, Roadhog could break the shields, but it's just not worth what you could potentially give in terms of ultimate generation and not having another shield of your own. So Jerry looks like he'll be trying to work up to the high ground here. Shockwave is able to just play this Echo, control like this high ground area, and he's trying to deny this from Jerry, because you don't want Jerry to just kind of go over and just launch a bunch of storm arrows at your tank from the backside. That'll be enough damage to allow you to push through the choke.
Yeah, especially because the nerfs to storm arrows were also reverted, so now they're back to their previous values. They're hitting like a truck once more. But if they let Jerry, plant his feet, there could be trouble. They're not, though. I like this. Shockwave, while he's not really committing for kills, he's keeping him at bay, but now needs to deal with the threat in the front door.
It's all about keeping Shredlock healthy, because if you have the Hanzo get up into one of those positions, look down, fire into that Orisa, it backs it up, like you'll mostly where Shredlock has to play right now. And this becomes a little bit of an advantage for the Boston Uprising, but they get split off. A few players go in towards the staircase, some players get stuck in the doorway, and they all fall.
You know what they do there, which is really interesting, is they actually, their Orisa goes low, and it looks like the Titans are backing up. They push forward immediately on the back of the Immortality field from Rulf. So they're like, okay, well, I mean, we can still fight this now. Yeah. The field is behind the Orisa shield, and they're inside this room here on the left side. So they're able to push in. Their field can't be destroyed, and even with a low health Orisa, I mean, she can't die. She just don't die.
And Boston,
no glue factory for Sherlock that time.
And Boston doesn't have like a Lucio to really close that gap and get towards that Immortality field. As you see the position here as Karkar, he was in the Immortality just swinging for the fences there. I mean, nothing they could do about it.
They bait the Uprising with a low health Orisa right into their trap. Shockwave pushes up here, a duplicated Sigma, so an extra shield, definitely nothing to scoff at. Okay. Yeah, Gravitic Flux. I mean, why not? If you could force out an Immortality field, or even better, get kills, then you're super happy with that.
How is he alive?
He has no respect! No respect for his elders
and
whatsoever.
Then he gets out. Unbelievable.
Okay, 3 final blows, 0 deaths so far for Shockwave, who's accounting for 29% of his team's overall damage.
All right, Boston's got to make it work here. Look at the ultimates. 5 ultimates here for the Boston Uprising.
Remind me of Todd, the StarCraft caster. Look at the supply. Yeah, I see the ultimates. It doesn't always result in a fight win.
Look, I never guaranteed a fight win. I just said it's one that they should win. There goes one ultimate.
Carl X wants to go back to the Matrix and practice the pulse bombs in one of those simulation environments, Sherlock is low. Karkar playing that left-hand side, though. They've got that room covered. Oh, man. Oh, man!
Not the way they probably wanted that to go, I would say. Supercharger, Rally, and Pulse Bomb used there. You did have Rally and the Supercharger used for the Titans, but still, you're going to be able to, if you're the Titans, use this Gravitic Flux. You're going to have a Bob probably pretty quickly with using like a Halt plus the Dynamite combination. You're in a good spot to full hold here if you're the Titans.
Dalton, extremely safe position.
What's this Dragon Strike going to do?
Well, not a lot. And then maybe they bait the Titans to chase him into the side room and get something from it, but doesn't seem likely. Gravitic Flux there from KSA. There is the Dragon Strike. Okay, they try and combo with the Flux, which, it's not a combo. Let's not pretend it is now. But then Immortality Field, the drone's still alive. And the Titans able to get topped up now quickly as they try and push forward to get a Shockwave. There's another Gravitic Flux. Somebody stop this guy. Now he heads for the high ground. He does take note of Jerry's position. He's trying to wrap around the side. Again, this is house money he's playing with because he just turns into Echo and now tries to find the Hangzhou. But in the chaos, Color Hex has moved up to the point. Karkai, though, very scary figure. He cuts as he approaches on the Brigitte. More than happy just to try and keep Color Hex at bay, who's not really doing anything right now. He's just contesting.
He's just kiting him on the point.
He's got to stay there, though. Overtime now, he can't leave. And finally, assistance arrives. Halo and Jerry get there. Jerry with a couple quick kills. In fact, 2 of 3 of his kills in the round, right at the end, and just in time at the Uprising get point
They barely get hit. As I really liked what Karkar was doing there. He was like turning, giving the armor packs to his teammates and just contesting the point, just kind of playing around the belt, juggling back and forth with the Tracer. But the Titans just needed one pick out of that, right? They get a duplicate with a Gravitic Flux. They have a few other ultimates they end up using. They use a Bob during that fight. They're just never able to generate a pick. It's just Boston outlasted them and eventually you get that fight on the point.
Shockwave is playing May. Banned. Fine. He almost got caught out there. He had the ice block pretty far forward. He was able to get to safety, though. Well, now the Titans will try and control this high ground. Interesting little angle for Shockwave to play there. I like that he's got good wall vision and Immortality Field isn't destroyed, so that Gravitic Flux doesn't get too much early on, but Color Hex comes in there. Pulse Bomb's able to open things up a little bit more now. Immortality Field, Rolf only able to really use it for himself. He drops to the low level, but he's completely out at sea. He's so far out at sea, he's screaming Wilson right now. His team needs to get there, but they're staggered out. KSA's the first to come to the point now. He goes low end on the high ground. Is that an amplification matrix for Rolf? It's not enough.
It's all right. Boston able to take the second point pretty quickly. It's a big double Pulse Bomb from Color Hex. They try and push in. The Titans using that Gravitic Flux. Everybody pretty much lives through it with the Boston Uprising because they have that Immortality Field placed in that small hallway. And Color Hex, though, the double Pulse Bomb, that's when everything starts to fall apart. The Titans are so far spread apart at that time. Like, Shidluck's in the main choke. You have Rolf over. He goes from the low ground to the high ground again. They're never able to recover after that.
All right, Color Hex, this is a Pulse Bomb that really opened up the fight. Whoa, the stick on Shockwave. Note where
it was the shield, and then the shield gets destroyed, and then the Halt brings them on top of it.
I thought it came just after the shield disappeared and actually got the stick, but yeah, you might well be right.
It looks
onto the
like
inside of the bubble.
It looks like with the way the Pulse Bomb animation kind of after the fact, it looks like it hit the shield and then just kind of fell to the ground. But yeah, I mean, crazy scenario. They probably get the kills anyway if they just have the Halt with it in place, because it is a really good Halt there to lock them in place for that Pulse Bomb to be effective.
Well, the Boston Uprising shake off the dust a little bit here. Maybe they rub the Titans' face in it just a little bit. Having 2 minutes to work with is nice. They probably expect to be in for the long haul, though. The Titans, they look like they've got a ton of different compositions at their disposal. Maybe just the Hangzhou again. Shockwave just trying to emulate Jerry and fighting for control of one of those high ground purges and then making it his own.
Yes, it looks like Boston doesn't really want to play much Echo, seems like. They don't play it on the defense. They'll play Hangzhou here again, Hangzhou Tracer.
It's odd because Color Hex's stats look best on Echo. So the Uprising, this could be map specific, right? Because we're seeing a lot of Hangzhou come out here, which may not be a constant theme through the whole map pool, just this one. Dalton pulls the plug just in time. Shockwave with the flanking position there. Storm Arrow definitely keeps Fusions honest for the time being. And over the heels does go Color Hex. He's going to try and recall now back into the firing line. And Shockwave only needed one more arrow to complete the kill. He will at least force him away. And look how split the Uprising are again. This is reminiscent of what we saw from them in Night Market, man.
Yeah, and something we didn't talk about pre-game, which could also kind of lead to limited Echo play, potentially, from the Boston Uprising, is when we highlighted Color Hex's heroes, right? We talked about his Tracer, Mei, and Echo. Like, we've seen him play the Tracer now a decent amount in this series. Tracer was behind his Mei in terms of teamfight win rate, but way behind in terms of playtime. When we look at the Echo stats for Color Hex, are good, but how does it affect Jerry? Like, Jerry now having to play mostly like Tracer or Ashe in this type of situation, how does that affect his success and his ability to play? Maybe they feel more comfortable running compositions like this.
The defensive Hangzhou still in place for the Uprising, although it didn't feel like it got a lot of value. In fact, none. No, Jerry wasn't able to find any kills on that first fight. Didn't hold that against him. Not many people in the Uprising did. Now Boston make their way up with no real ultimates here, so what do they force? Can they force this window? Pulse might get dropped on them here. They'll have the beacon if they need it.
They get this high ground rather easily,
for free,
right?
Matt!
Like, I mean, there's not even a contest. Now it's just figuring out how they get a pick out of it. So that's why you see Shudlock drop to the point. They need to force these players out of the corner.
Okay, there's the stick. Dalton gets rid of Halo now. And the Uprising, Matt, they seem like they're a little bit reactive and not enough proactive now. It's Dalton to make the play, opens things up, and the Uprising are playing very passively on defense here, just around the point. Another fantastic shatter from Fusions, but as is often the case, the follow-up isn't there. He backs his way into a corner. That's 2 ticks already for the Vancouver Titans. The Uprising have to dig. No! This is not okay! That is preposterous! Well, the Uprising, with about 4 players to work with, and surely some desire to play the game, step off the point.
I mean, giving up the high ground there, like, they don't even fight it, really, and then they don't really even fight for the point. Like, it's just the pulse bomb that goes into the back of Halo's Brig. He blows up, and then you're just kind of done? I mean, that's it?
Yeah. Hit the showers, boys. Okay, well, I get it. We've seen many teams on defense actually in Fusion's position there. They commit. Their shield is low, but they step onto the point anyway. They look for a fire strike. They look for a swing, and they just hope that the stagger will keep people going. The Uprising clearly mistimed what would have been an attempt to recontest the point, while still being short-handed. And they probably wanted to gather around Fusions and make their way to the point like that. It would just give them a better capacity to stall. But I mean, you just don't see that very often, and for good reason. Like, the Uprising looked okay after their attacking round, but they rolled over to the Titans. They really did. They asked for a doggy treat, and they were done with it.
Yeah, it's not great defense there from Boston. Something that I was looking at is what we talked about the great Echo play from Color Hex and his high win rate. When you kind of compare, Jerry sits at like a 50% teamfight win rate on the Ashe. But when you have Jerry on the Tracer, it kind of drops considerably. It goes to like about 40%. So maybe they want to try and empower Jerry to play some of the heroes that he's the best at, right? Whether you get his Hangzhou in the mix or more of his Ashe play, and then try and fit Color Hex into a different role, which kind of puts him on Tracer.
A lot of damage taken here by the Uprising map, but that Immortality field allows them to shrug most of it off. And they find Shockwave, who committed just a little bit too deeply. Now, let's see the Titans. Quality teams can play from this position short-handed and hang on. And there it is, the equalizing kill. Myeonbong now has lost that Immortality field. Dalton, I mean, you hate to really be trying to deal with Tracer in situations like this. Keep your distance if you can, but Coach Gun even's not going to be enough. Still, help does arrive. Kaka very acutely identifies that you
can line of sight this so easy if you're the Titans. You see, they just have the Immortality field. They can watch the cross here. Because now they put down they put down their own Amp Matrix, and now they come around, and this puts Boston in a really weird spot.
I'm really impressed by what we just saw from the Titans there. It may be textbook, but they sat back, gave some space, got some trade kills, and ended up actually in an upper-handed situation in terms of play number. Jerry is in trouble. Big trouble.
All right, now we'll get to see Boston attack. Yeah, this is going to be one more attack here. You have the Dragon Strike, but there's going to be probably a Bob used at the beginning on the choke. Maybe a Gravitic Flux with the Bob to kind of eliminate the people that land. Boston probably has to rely on Color Hex to get a touch here. Almost like how they took the first point, right? That little dance with the car in 1v1.
Jerry now needs to make the most of the space that's been created here. Bob is thrown down. Fusions just gets rid of him pretty darn quickly. Gravitic Flux, he is caught in it. Look, he didn't have a chance to use the Fortify, so that's a lot of health taken away still. Dalton is down, and so is his bodyguard. The KSA responds, and now Color Hex is going to try and sow some chaos here on the point. Not too many heads turned to Edson right now, but look at that. The Hypersphere's bouncing around by KSA, and Kaka got the finishing blow. Now it's a rallying Brig. I mean, Halo, it's wishful thinking. Byungbong can also step up now. Now, Amplification Matrix throwing down a good start on KSA to make sure he takes the full amplified damage to the high ground. Good adaptation
nice
from Boston
shot.
to split the high ground, Matt. Jerry can push in now, make use of that immortality field, try and get rid of the remaining players in the Titans.
Really nice shots there from Jerry up on the high ground. Had the Amp Matrix to work with. And that really kind of bails out the Uprising in the end. So they will be able to take this first point. We'll see what they're able to do. They still haven't, this is the second Dragon Strike. Yes, because Jerry used it at the beginning of the last fight. Put some damage into the Ash, but that's all they'll have. Maybe they can use the Dragon Strike to give them some space high ground, then able to drop down, maybe make a play happen.
Yep, there's no reason that the Titans would just sit there and take it, even with the Immortality Field, because it does damage. It may not kill them, but it puts a lot of pressure on the healing resources, and Rolf is just going to be spamming right-click to get them back. So that seems like that's the foundation. That's the starting point for the play. Once they get the high ground, then what? Maybe Color Hex, tries to wrap around here with a Pulse Bomb. Let's see how this plays out now. Immortality Field was used. Shredlock is low, very low. Rolf goes down to the Dragon. That's not really something you can afford to have happen at all. Karkar now goes to the low ground, tries to protect his main tank Shredlock for as long as he can, and it's working. He keeps Shredlock up, and then Dalton gets a kill from across the point. Jerry finds a couple big ones, though, and he has a chance here to try and bring things back. But another headshot for Jerry. He's doing it again. Rolf, though, gets rid of him now, and it was a clutch Gravitic Flux from KSA to put this wishful thinking straight to bed, and the Vancouver Titans should be able to hold here on point B. The accretion. Halo's able to dodge it, but can't do much more. Boston continuing to get a little bit more than you expect on some of these rounds of Hanamura.
You rarely feel super bad for a player in an individual situation, but I kind of feel bad for Jerry there. Some really crazy shots that even give them a chance.
Oh, he wasn't even trying to aim at Dalton and he killed him. You feel bad for Jerry.
He was aiming for him. So, Jerry has really been a bright spot for Boston all season long. Although they've had a lot of bad games, right, sitting at 2-12. Jerry got a lot of love at the beginning. It became this hilarious kind of thing. But when you look at just his individual play on some of the better heroes that we know him for, really strong performances, regardless of how the team is playing. Really kind of keeping them close in a lot of these games.
Matt, Jerry's 13 final blows for a total of 30 on the Uprising, so he's close to that mythical flatter deadlift.
Yeah.
This is raw for those final moments, though. Great combination with that Gravitic Flux, and they're sitting ducks. It's easier than clay pigeon shooting at that point. It's like clay pigeon shooting when they're in a tub of jelly.
With double damage.
Yeah, double damage. I don't know how that translates into the analogy I'm using, but yeah, we play clay pigeon shooting.
Clay pigeons are the things where they shoot them out of that thing that looks like the machine that shoots footballs, right?
Yeah, and some guy with massive overbite just screams pull skeeter, and those little play discs get shot into the air.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I've seen that on ESPN a few times.
Yeah, that's right. It's actually kind of cool, but that's right. We're doing it in the digital world right now because that's where all the fun is these days, Matt.
Yeah, without the ducks or the pigeons, right? Without the clay.
Well, you say without ducks. The Boston Uprising are sitting ducks now, mate. It's 4 minutes and 10 seconds.
You always figure out a way to bring it back to the game, don't you?
I'm like a Houdini of words, bro. You can't trap me. Rolf does lose that immortality field early.
Words.
Yeah, you can't trap me.
That's your worst one yet.
Listen. You miss every shot you don't take, my man.
Oh man.
Pumps on the Sigma here. Kinetic Grass gets him a ridiculous amount of shield. You don't always notice that. That was a lot of damage he just ate up. KSA is going to get halted forward. He has to now use a grasp of his own. Shredlock's also low here. The Hanzos need to get work in Shockwave. What a high value kill. Just picks Halo off. And you can't tell me he was looking for it. But he gets it anyway. Another for him now. And the Hanzo roulette wheel spins on and on. This time favors the Vancouver Titans.
And you have nothing you can do
pretty
there.
Comfortably, Matt.
What do you do when you're the Boston Uprising and the window gets dropped in that type of position? The tanks actually played it the best they probably could. They're able to use Immortality Field from Byungbong, go to the right-hand side of the bell and kind of wrap around, and they try and push some of the members of the Titans back so they all can't get value out of it, but still just way too much damage coming down from Shockwave on the Hanzo through that.
Which is mental, right? Because I thought KSA and Shredlock were dead to rights. Huge halts there from Fusions to set up almost a kill on KSA, force the grasp, and it looked like the frontline battle was way in Boston's favor. I think I've seen this one before. Bit of deja vu. High ground will be claimed by the Titans now. This time, the Uprising give it up without much of a fight. And this is it. This is the staging ground you look for if you're the Titans now. Descend from that high ground. Pulse bomb. Oh, the combo was pretty darn good. They get rid of the immortality field early in the fight, and I think Dalton had to be happy with that. Punk already went down to a gravitic flux now, and Halo has to go ham. He gets one in with the whip shot, chases Dalton down, and Bob has done his duty, Matt. He holds on to that point for quite some time and buys enough of it for Color Hex to get into the back line and find Shockwave. And this isn't over yet. They're still keeping Fusions alive.
Yes, they're desperately trying to keep him alive. They'll be able to get a hold here, and there's no permanent progress done here by the Titans. They'll switch off of the Tracer and they'll go May. So see if they're able to get a pick. Like, that's probably what you want to do here if you're the Titans. Try and manufacture a pick over on the high ground. Maybe get one player split off with a wall, rush him down. Also, the May will be pretty effective on the point if you ever get a chance to get a Blizzard. If you get to the point, obviously the Boston Uprising have to fight, at least with a few players on the point that can test. That's where the Blizzard would be pretty devastating.
Halo and Brig looking pretty scary with 6 final blows. It's more than Color Hex can claim so far in this entire map, Matthew. A quiet one for him. Sorry, Mr. Anderson. Let's see if he can bring it back in the next couple of moments. Okay, so rally was used there. Titans try and make their way forward now into a bit more of a durable Uprising. Here's a gravitic flux now, but of course the drone gets placed down. Yep, straight away. Okay, here's the supercharger. This is where you double down now. The Uprising are committed to a fight, and you've got a damage boost if you're the Titans. You really want to take the gloves off and go for a proper brawl here. Myeonbong, he's lost his immortality field now, and Dalton is trying to track Color Hex through this fight. He gets him as well. You love to see it. Now the Titans can make their way to the point here. Punk's pretty much on his own. There's reinforcements coming out of spawn map, but there are only a couple. Bob has to be used here. He's gotten rid of pretty quick, and Fusions now has to go for the Fortify to stay grounded during the flux.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of the players of the Titans still alive on the point, keeping everybody up with the immortality field. That'll be an Amp Matrix drop from Rolf, and now you see the desperation here coming out for the Uprising. It'll be Punk going over to the Wrecking Ball. Everybody from the Uprising, though, just getting picked off coming out of the spawn. This should be the Titans able to take the map.
Yeah, that wall really setting things up. Clever tech there to actually put it the opposite direction to make it harder to break. And the Titans, they will take the Hanamura map away. And they look pretty darn good doing it. Jerry, Matt, you pointed it out. The hype that's sort of given to him isn't unreasonable. He had a very, very good map. But in the end, the Uprising couldn't put the pieces together. Dalton looked incredibly good on that Ash.
Well, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about, actually, was we're on board with Dalton there towards the end, and he's being pestered by Color Hex on the Tracer. Like, it is so difficult as an Ash to be able to deal with a Tracer like that, just constantly, and Dalton just made it look so easy there. As the Titans, they look to be putting... this is 2 big maps, right? If they get a 3-0, this gives them the 2-1 for the stage, the Summer Showdown. It also gives them a really good map differential, right? So in terms of tiebreakers and whatnot, it really puts them in a great position.
Yeah, potentially a position where they might get to select their opponent. I mean, like, who knows how far up they can make their way. It depends on what we see from some of these other teams' map, but they're looking very good.
From the play-ins to be able to pick your opponent in a few weeks, not bad.
That's right. We'll see, we still need to see how the Titans look up against, in the rest of this series at least, but also up against more quality opponents. But we'll have a chance to talk about that much more, Matthew, as we're going to be heading to a break in just a moment. We're going to head over to the desk and we're going to collect some of their thoughts on the match we've seen so far. It's 2-0 at halftime in favor of the Vancouver Titans. We'll have to see and wait if the Boston Uprising can get something on the board in this map.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by ZipChair Gaming, the official chair supplier of the Overwatch League, and by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League. welcome to another game break presented by Pringles Wavy, Zoe, Costa and Reinforce at your service, and we're about to break down all the action between the Vancouver Titans and the Boston Uprising. Now, Vancouver Titans are currently up 2-0, so let's discuss. Map 1, Lijiang. I feel like we saw a lot of different looks from both of those teams. Costa, maybe you want to break down some of the compositions we actually got to see.
Yeah, I think the first round is a good indicator of what we saw throughout the entirety of the series. Boston come out with this very brawl style with the Reinhardt, with the Orisa, and the May and the Reaper, and they just want to hold down the point, while, on the other hand, the Vancouver Titans going very heavy with the dive, having Shockwave on that Echo, and it goes back and forth, and we've seen so much of this throughout all the rounds and both of the maps, because, you know, we've seen a lot of May, we've seen a lot of Reaper, we've seen a lot of Echo, a lot less of the meta that we've seen from a lot of different teams. So I really like that both these teams are playing to their strengths and playing their style, and this is an absolute barn burner. It's going back and forth. You know, a lot of players are popping off on different sides, but you definitely see the coordination of the Vancouver Titans coming out king in most of these situations.
Yeah, but I don't know if you agree with me, Costa, but it feels like Boston, because of their playstyle and the heroes they play, they're always a bit on the back foot, perhaps, while the Vancouver Titans, they tend to be the aggressor in this matchup and tend to be the one initiating some of these fights, especially on the back of Shockwave and the aggressive pace he brings to this team. So it does feel like, even though Boston Uprising, they are clinging on to this series and they're trying to win some of these maps and getting close doing so, it does feel like Vancouver Titans, in my opinion, is a bit like they're in control of this matchup. So I'm looking forward to see if the Vancouver Titans can continue to improve like this, like they're continuing to improve on a week-to-week basis. And with the addition of Shockwave, Titans are looking actually quite promising now. And keep in mind, they haven't played a ton of matches so far this season. So I don't want to go too far right away, but if they win this match, they're 4-7, and they have plenty more matches to play. So we might even get to a point where the Vancouver Titans, despite a messy season, might establish themselves as like a mid-table team going into the playoffs. So I'm being a bit hyperbolic here, Costa, but, you know, I'm just putting it out there.
I love that you try and defend yourself. You're like, just bear with me right now. Okay, let's. I agree with you. I think Shockwave has proven himself as a phenomenal DPS player, and the entire team is coming to. You say it's. I think it's more the coordination and the set strategies that the Vancouver Titans, where I think they're getting the absolute edge. We saw it on the second point of Hanamura. They have a set dragon strategy to clear out the top right. They're taking the space, and it's really forcing Boston Uprising into a situation they don't want to be. So it's not even really Boston playing passive. I would say it's the Vancouver Titans having good aggressive strategies and then utilizing them.
Yeah, I really loved everything we saw from the Vancouver Titans as of right now. They're really utilizing the strength of the heroes they're picking to max capacity. And Shockwave, we've pointed him out time and time again in their previous match as well. So naturally, he made it into our crunch time presented by Pringles Wavy with yet another great echo play.
Yeah, Shockwave, I remember the first match I watched him play against the Toronto Defiant. I'm like, there is no way this guy plays this aggressive all the time. Well, I'd like to admit that I am very wrong. He is so aggressive. He turns into Reaper, kills one, instantly teleports into the background, uses the Reaper ult, catches out Myeonbong, who's just not ready for Shockwave to be there anymore. He gets 2 Reaper ults throughout the course of this transformer, and we see it time and time again. He is such a good, valuable player because he creates so much space and he plays so aggressive. And so far, we haven't seen a lot of teams able to shut him down and stop his aggressive style.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people might think that we're talking a bit too much about Shockwave, but I think he's so crucial to this team because at the start, when they picked up this sort of contenders roster, they didn't really have a projectile player, and Shockwave has proven to be that. But he used to be a hit scan player, and that's where his McCree comes in, that's where his Widowmaker and Ashe comes in, and we've seen some of that in the past. But also being able to play Echo on this team, that's such a big boon for this Vancouver Titans roster. So having a player like Shockwave who brings identity with his aggression and smart play, but also having an expansive hero pool, that has really unlocked some of the potential within the Vancouver Titans. So again, very impressed by Shockwave.
Yeah, and I'm actually really excited about the next match coming up, map rather. It's going to be Gibraltar, and I would say that is really fitting for a hero pool such as the one Shockwave actually has. Any last thoughts on how their opponents can actually get back into it?
I think Boston needs to try and go first. It feels like they're giving Vancouver the space to use their set strategies and take their own aggression. I'd like to see Boston try and tilt the Vancouver Titans off balance by changing up the tempo a little bit, because right now they're sort of giving them that space.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I mean, they've talked about how Punk is this sort of like aggressive off tank. And I'm like, okay, well, it's time to play with that aggression and sort of try to match the Vancouver Titans head on and show that you have that within yourself. So perhaps, yeah, up the tempo a little bit. I agree with that, Costa.
Yeah, and so far it was the Titans dictating said tempo. Let's see if the Boston Uprising can bring it back in the second half of this match. And for all the action, we once more hand it back over to our casters.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles Wavy. Big crunch, big flavor. Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
L'attaque des Vancouver Titans.
Ouais, donc clairement pas. En tout cas, pour Overtime, le premier point, ça ne peut pas être bon, mais ça pourrait débloquer la situation là, ce triple kill. Marqueur celle-ci, Shockwave là, qui prend le temps, qui prend le temps avec son infravision dans les mains.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Overwatch League. So far, it has been a rout here in our third game of the day. The Boston Uprising have struggled to stay in step against the Vancouver Titans, and I don't think things, Matt, are going to look any better for them now, heading over to Gibraltar for our third map, which is not really a map where maybe, you know, Fusion's hero pool gets to shine.
What do they play? Do they play Orisa Sigma because they don't want to play like something maybe Winston-oriented, where Winston's a little bit harder to run now because of the Predator play? But
and you need the Nano, I think, for the Nano boost a lot of the time.
Still, there is so much verticality, though, on Gibraltar, where even with some more Brig play, you can probably still make it work in certain scenarios. It'll be really interesting what Boston decides to do here. They've had the halftime, obviously, to try and work some of the Kings out, or at least try and make adjustments to their strategy, but Vancouver's looked really strong today. Yeah, I mean,
they've looked excellent, and it hasn't just been, you know, on the back of Shockwave, although map 1 definitely looked like a very good one for him. The team looks to be gelling really nicely. I have to say, I thought Karkars looked really good, whether it was the Lucio that we saw on Lijiang Tower or the Brig that we saw in that previous map here. So the team's looking good. They're gelling, and I mean, you're playing with house money if you are the Titans right now, man. I mean, like, you don't really have any huge expectations. What they're doing now is building expectations of others for them. But that's the way it goes. A win here sends them to 2-1, and they're already guaranteed themselves, Matt, not to have to be in the play-ins for the Summer Showdown. So they're guaranteed a spot in our last week, our playoff week.
Right. And then, mind you, also, you will see the Titans tomorrow because they obviously didn't play for a very long time, so they do have a game that needs to be made up. So that'll be a catch-up game, which I believe does not go towards their standing in terms of the Summer Showdown qualifiers. Obviously it wouldn't, because they'd have more matches than everybody else. It wouldn't make any sense. But
God, explaining that to the world is going to be so annoying.
But let's say they win this, right? Which they're looking like in a very good position to do so. They would move to 2-1, and more importantly, they would go to the +3 in terms of map differential. That would put them above the Florida Mayhem. That's Mayhem,
4th place, right?
Yeah, it would put them in 4th currently. There are some other teams, though, capable of getting there. Specifically the Gladiators, who could tie that, or the Atlanta Reign, who could get past that. But Atlanta, they end up playing against the Titans tomorrow in their final game of the stage. So that one will count for Atlanta Reign, which could be a huge match for them in terms of trying to make up that map differential.
What is... Okay, so we get the Ana Winston combo, potentially Genji from the Uprising, and we get legs with the Winston Tracer. So, you know, a similar concept to what we saw the, I guess, the Mayhem trying to use last month quite a lot.
Winston Diva Tracer Genji.
It's coming home, baby! We died.
If you believe enough, it'll happen.
Oh, mate. Oh, you'd love to see it. Shockwave, fighting field thrown down there, keeping tabs on Color Hex, playing the high ground. First time on Genji for him.
Boston at the halftime was like, look, if we lose, how can we make people happy? We're like,
well, I couldn't tell if it's that or if they just got hit so hard they got knocked back into 2018, Matt.
It's like, I love the open, like, when the open roll queue was available, everybody was like, yeah, one last ride to GOATs, dude, bring it back. And now it's like, going full circle.
Well, they finally catch Shockwave. I mean, it's really hard to pin any one of the Titans down with this composition. Just the Zen, that's the easy target. They actually get rid of Shockwave early on. It was Jerry chasing him down. And now the payload moves up. The Titans retain the high ground. They keep that title deed. KSA just going to do a drive-by there as Color Hex tries to access. It's going to be a nano boost here potentially soon for
probably
Fusions if they want to open the fight.
Yeah, you're nowhere close to a Blade, so the... Definitely will be the Winston. Didn't look like he was almost ready for that.
No,
it looked like he was just standing there in the choke.
It was like a wistful look back at Nimbok, like, why did you do that? But still, they're able to find Shredlock there.
Maybe they thought that they would have like Transcendence and force it out. Because then now you could have, if you force out Transcendence with that, you had a free Blade opportunity.
All right, well, they get rid of Shockwave here, so the Titans are struggling to actually find targets at all here. Look a little bit dodgy, but Dalton's able to find a quick double. Color Hex there, working down KSA, but the Winston's going to be a problem for him. Deflect is done. Wow, okay. Parting gift on to KSA. He gets cleaned up. Color Hex now is just going to keep trying to work his way through, but momentum is starting to slow down a bit. They need to work with this Winston dive. Milmong's a long way from another nano boost here, so it'll have to be waiting on the Blade or do it without the nano.
You're going to have to wait for the Nano because they know that Transcendence is available here for the Titans, and this will be Rally for the Titans as well to try and keep everybody stabilized up on the cart.
The Titans can back up here as well. They do give a little bit of ground. The payload fairly close to the checkpoint, but did not reach it. And they can try and re-establish some of that high ground, but only after clearing this server room out. And maybe that's not going to be so easy. Colorhex gets rid of Dalton, who was not ready for that. Colorhex clearly knowing what was coming for him. And now Myeonbong has that nano boost. Now the Uprising can break through.
Do they go with a Nano Blade here? Looks like they're trying to line it up. That'll be the blade that comes up. The Nano comes a little bit later. And
What an explosive end to what could have been quite a glorious Nano Blade. Jerry's able to find 2 kills though, and now they look for Rolf as well. The stick is good, and Jerry is going haywire. KSA trying to chase the Tracer down, now just has to move into stall mode, and that won't last long either. Huge fight from Jerry. It had to be after Colorhex got shut down so early on.
Well, the Nano is a bit late on the Colorhex. Like, he had already gone in, used the dash, I believe, and then the Nano comes, and you see he's just kind of a little bit in a weird spot where he ends up getting hit with the self-destruct. And you don't know whether it's a, like, he had to come back to get the Nano, get within range to receive it, and put him in line of sight of that.
I think that he might have ducked behind a Winston bubble.
Maybe, yeah.
Just remembering what we saw from Myeonbong's perspective. Either way, I think he got shield bashed instantly. And so the nano boost came, and then he got a little bit less blade time, and then, well, the self-destruct came in.
Pretty funny.
It's all history now, you know what I mean? We're definitely not going to bring that up again 20 times today. No, sorry, Bob. Colorhex, though, trying to contest the top part of the shuttle, and Jerry's Pulse Bomb didn't connect this time around. Not able to put the team on his shoulders in this fight, but Myeonbong is going to help out the Winston getting rid of Shockwave. KSA's desuited right now, so a little bit squeaky bum time for the Titans while they try and get him back into the mech.
And what do you think? For me, I kind of like the soldier pick. I think some people would probably say, where's like Ash, where's McCree? But I think you need the mobility of the 76. That going to be a self-destruct that goes in the back, doesn't get anything. Shredlock uses the Primal Rage, trying to keep this fight going here for the Titans.
Well, the problem for Shockwave, he's got no kills. There's no finishing. It's like Liverpool circa 2017. Like, no one's actually completing these kills and getting the job done. Colorhex now able to get the blade much more gainfully. Able to find Shredlock at the very least here on the Uprising. Quite simply, are just finding the kills. The Titans have 5 kills as a team, and none of them as a result of Shockwave. He switches.
Yeah, so he goes to McCree. Interested to see how they try and make this work. Obviously, McCree a much easier dive target. 76, but he's pretty good against the flankers. I just like the 76 mobility to kind of change positions all the time, right? I know, rotate to different sides of the high ground, etc. I feel like now you're just going to be really sitting here in this kind of bunker-style setup with the D.Va. You'll have the D.Va in play because you need the Matrix. You'll have the Brig and the Zen just kind of all playing around each other.
Why not play Echo here as Shockwave, I wonder? Perhaps doesn't want to deal with getting slept?
They go Sombra now. As well, because this will be really good for the hacks on the D.Va. Obviously, take a Matrix away.
Oh, great stick, Jerry!
Nice
That's
pulse
nuts.
bomb, and there's going to be KSA getting D-Macked. But because you know everybody's going to be close together, playing a little bit slower around this McCree, it's going to be way easier to hit a big EMP to close this out.
Gigantic pulse bomb, not enough, but now the nanoboost on the fusions. The Uprising looking to try and find a crack in the armor, and they may have found it. Dalton is down. Now fusions goes back in once more. Nano into Primal Rage. All the durability you could ask for, and a self-destruct in the backline does nothing to dissuade the Uprising, who want to keep surging forward. 1 minute and 52 seconds left on the clock. Plenty to work with, and now they're on the final straight.
Pretty impressive what we've seen from Boston, though. Like, we didn't think the compositions like this would kind of lead towards their strengths, but they have definitely proved us wrong here, at least thus far.
KSA in mini D.Va form now, trying to hold down the fort. Self-destruct here. Punk tries to send one in of his own. Pulse bombs for all and sundry. And it's going to be Jerry to find 2 in that fight, and the cleanup looks good for Boston here. Recall had to be used by Dalton, and he gets trounced as soon as he reappears. And yes, Jerry with 10 final blows. Colorhex with 7, most of them on the Genji. Shockwave still with 0. Definitely struggle city there for the Titans. And honestly, the Soldier 76 composition just didn't really look that impressive.
Well, I wonder, he went like right there towards the end of the spot. He went towards Torbjorn. We haven't seen Torbjorn in a very long time, but Torb against the flankers could be pretty effective. I wonder if we'll see somebody bring that out. We see the dive yet again, but really good offense from Boston. especially because we didn't think they were going to be able to play that type of composition. Doesn't suit to some of their strengths, and especially from what we've seen throughout the series in terms of pace of play. But that was really impressive, able to finish out Gibraltar, and remind you that they really got kind of pushed almost to OT on the first point. So from the first point on, through the interior phase here with the ship, and then towards the end, they were lightning fast. I mean, really, really good.
Good little show up there for the Uprising. And the Fusion's Winston looking very solid as well. We were just sort of speculating. It's like, well, we know he really likes to play the Reinhardt a whole lot, but Winston looks really solid. I know he's received criticism for that before, but it's Gibraltar. You have to play to the map, and so far the Uprising have done a bang-up job of that. So the Titans now, probably no more Soldier 76 action. I think they've probably got other plans, and maybe a TP play to get them across the bridge to open up with. And they're definitely molding a little bit. They got some time to make up.
Potentially, let's see. Gets them directly across to the left, and then they go Widowmaker here. So Widow versus Widow. Color Hex will be on the Genji. So Genji versus Tracer here. Obviously, Genji just way better at controlling verticality, right? Being able to use the wall climb to get to places obviously Tracer cannot access as easily. Also, I think Genji equally as difficult for like a Widowmaker to take out, especially because of that.
Shockwave really has to give a respectable distance. Also, the fact that there's a brick here for the Uprising, that Halo was just adding that extra shield to Jerry, so this gives him an edge in the Widow v Widow, and actually also limits drastically Shockwave's potential targets. Fusions, wow, brings the house down pretty early on, dives straight on in, finds the entirety of the back line, and then pieces the heck out.
Yep.
My man's has got a plane to the Caymans to catch, I guess.
The Titans will peace out as well, as they don't have any supports this time. You're just burning clock, just trying to maybe get some ultimate charge, right? As Dalton gets out with his life, gets up to about 90%. The Uprising for this next fight, they won't really have much of anything. Jerry goes over to Tracer, so they'll opt to not play the Widowmaker at the start here. So they're gonna try and dive a Shockwave here on the Widow. Probably try and challenge him a bit.
Oh, we said Tracer doesn't like verticality. Stairs are a great way to conquer verticality if you're a normal person. Even if you're not a normal person and don't have rocket boosters or cat-like reflexes. So Dalton was looking to try and flank around that way. KSA catches out Fusions. He was nano boosted, by the way. That's just how much damage was going towards him. Good focus fire from the Titans. And that's what they needed. Dalton, okay, speculative attempt there to try and get on towards Myeonbong. Is definitely caught halfway by Halo, but gets to retain the high ground at least as a consolation. What does he do with it? Some damage on towards Punk as he has to go solo here in the stalling effort. They're down a Diva, the Uprising, but they get a big sleep dart on Dalton. Should be able to clean that kill up. Great stun to follow up, but Kaka finds one of his own. Fusions and Shredlock now going at it. The Monkey Fists are flying in and into the back corner. Goes Shredlock. Both have Primal Rage now. And a self-destruct from KSA gets him to re-mech, and there's not a whole lot Fusions can do. He's run out of teammates to protect him. And Shockwave finds a gimme frag at the end of the fight.
Yeah, Shockwave is just in the background, just putting down so much damage. Like, he's up on the ramp by the server, and at that point, when the cart gets to that moment, there's absolutely nothing they can do, all right? Like, you can't dive past the cart to go challenge him. You have to just play around the cart if you are the Boston Uprising in that situation, which allows the Widowmaker to get free picks from afar.
And now Shockwave's much happier with the setup here. Attacking teams, if they control the shuttle, have so much backline space for the Widow to work. Fusions again gets nanoed, again doesn't really have an opportunity in this fight to make an impact, and again gets focus fired down by the Titans. Color Hex's Blade, well, he's second in line for nano boost, so he doesn't really have the option of where he's going to wait for Myeonbong to build another one. Not much to be done here. We'll at least try and keep an eye on Shredlock. Nice Shuriken hit there as well. Remember, the damage of those is boosted and the spread is reduced, so easy to get big kills. But Jerry, bit of a blooper moment for him. Get felled by his own pulse bomb, stunned up before it could go off. Color Hex brandishes the blade at the Titans.
Do you think it's too much? The cart does get close. Like, the Titans are setting a good time, so you have to use the ultimates. But pulse bomb, blade, self-destruct, rally.
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
I don't count the blade without a nano boost as like a legitimate ultimate in a fight like that.
Really?
Like, if I see them, I'm just like, well, like,
I mean, they don't have Transcendence or like a rally on the other side, so obviously, I mean, it is going to be pretty effective.
Well, I guess they're still dealing with the Brig, of course, and Winston making life a little bit hard for Kalex. You can see how much he struggles, and players are so wise now to Nanoblades, and where Boston was positioned as well. It's kind of hard for Kalex to cover that much ground. I'd rather see him get a Nano boost next time, because Fusion's just getting focused by it. Just let him use Primal and hit the backline like this.
Takes a big headshot going in, Fusions.
Yeah, but still, though, manages to stay out of line of sight. I mean, the rest of the Titans are too far forward, right? They're trying to push that card in. The Widow is always going to be with a huge amount of no man's land in between her and the rest of the team. Transcendence there as well for the Titans. Keeps them nice and durable, and both supports for the Uprising have gone down. Even though Karkar is removed here, the Titans have pretty much paved the way now towards getting this checkpoint. They don't quite break the barrier in time for Fusions, but they'll get there. They'll get checkpoint B.
Yeah, as it looks like Jerry just kind of getting out, trying to stall it out for a little bit longer. Everybody else kind of jumping onto the payload, but that'll be the Vancouver Titans taking checkpoint B. I guess I feel like you could have used the, like, let's say you held on to the blade, right? You would have been able to use the blade earlier in that next fight to force out Transcendence, and they wouldn't have had it to extend the fight on the cart and really push them over the line.
Do you think Blade's more valuable to force Transcendence
without Nano
than it is on its own?
Without Nano,
yeah, without
I think
Nano.
so, yeah.
Okay.
Especially in these types of situations, I believe so, yeah.
Well, Nanoed Winston into a Transcendence, it's not going to do anything at all. Even though he gets a damage boost, it's just not really
No, you'd rather
enough.
trade Blade for Transcendence and then have the Nano Winston versus nothing, right?
Yep, makes sense. Titans have a bit of time to work with here, Matt. 2 minutes 20 on the clock. It will be a Nano Blade, potentially, for Color Hex now.
Obviously, it is also way easier for us to say that knowing exactly who has what ultimates.
That is true, no doubt about it. It's harder to track those than you think. Jerry gets hit by a headshot. I think he might have actually been caught by Shredlock's Primal Rage, just popped up in midair for long enough for Shockwave to find the kill. Primal Rage here for Fusions. Look at that health bar get chunked down pretty early on. He has to spend so much of this ultimate actually just waited to be healed, and then he's stunned immediately. This is what life is like trying to deal with Brig and to deal with the Discord Orb of the Zenyatta. Oh, Shockwave. That is sharp. Jerry gets caught out now.
Oh, I want to see that from his POV. That had to be nuts.
Good stall, though. I mean, the Uprising have bought a bunch of time here.
Look at this. I mean, just this angle from the Widowmaker is going to force them into such difficult spots. All the Titans need to do, right? They've healed up everybody. They're going to rally. They're going to get on cart. And this is going to force the Boston Uprising out. And they have to go Widowmaker here to try and challenge him.
Yeah, it feels like a foregone conclusion when a Widow set up this far back and the card is so close to the end of the map. I mean, Jerry doesn't have the time to go and chase down a Widow at all. Still, Karkar backs up. He knows Rolf's actually getting pressured, so he's not able to push the card in that moment here. Jerry trying to hold down the fort. Fusion gets another nano boost here, and there's a chance for the Uprising to stay in this fight. Myeonbong, oh, their sleep is good. Dalton tries to harass him. Eventually, he's going to get woken up, and it's a rude awakening at that. Shredlock has to go for the Primal Rage now because he was hit with a Bardic Grenade. No healing possible, and oh, Halo's lucky to get knocked off the edge of the map there. Dalton is down. Color Hex finds him. KSA gets the resuit just in time, but Halo is healthy and Hale and swinging for the fence. Shockwave's going to sit back, and Matt, even though he's in such a good spot, he eventually gets caught. The Uprising buy enough time to get Jerry a one-way ticket into enemy territory, and Fusions is getting all the healing you could ever need. This is ridiculous stall.
Oh, and it'll be a rally here from Karkar as you have to go for it here. If you're the Titans, only 20 seconds left. KSA is going to get 2 players here. Mind you, KSA in the previous moments also got a DMAC on a Punk as he's trying his hardest to get the Titans over the line.
Jerry and Punk combining nicely there, and even though KSA made a quick double play, it's not going to be enough. They have to back up for a moment, but a decent on KSA, and we need to even now as all the Titans have to work with for an attempt to push us over the line. Dalton steps up. He's going to have to blink in there, but he's stunned immediately, forced into recall. Halo is taken down, but the Titans need numbers on the card. They now have that with Shredlock returning, and keep an eye on that Primal Rage. He has it ready to go. Punk out of the mech. He's removed. Self-destruct doesn't find anything. They lose the D before their trouble. The Titans now back in the driver's seat. They get the card across the line. They stay alive on Gibraltar.
Barely. I thought Myeongbong played that phenomenal at the end, playing from in and out of the spawn, right? His nano boost onto Fusions was a huge game changer, right? Which started to throw things in Boston's favor. Also, a really nice sleep dart that connected on the Dalton, but the Titans, they regroup at the final seconds, able to get it over the line, so they'll get extended to a minute. That means the Uprising will get an extra minute added to their time. So 2 minutes 24 for the Uprising, and they go on their attack. We'll see the Vancouver Titans first, though.
And at least the Titans now know they'll get a chance to defend point A without Soldier 76. They'll get a chance to actually have a redo of that. I mean, that probably didn't happen. That wouldn't have happened unless KSA gets like a double environmental knockoff kill with the Divas, the rocket booster. I believe that's what happened. So, and that's huge. When you're trying to break a stall situation and get a quick multi-kill, there's no better way to swing the odds in your favor.
You think Shockwave plays the Widow again on offense? I think they have to have a good idea. Like, the Titans have to have a good idea that the Boston Uprising are going to play probably some variation of this, like Tracer Genji specifically. I wonder if we see them go with the Widow again to try and get picks, which leaves them really vulnerable on a map this spread out to get dove on by one of these flankers, or they opt to play like the McCree here instead.
Okay, if they go Widow, it'll be very positional for the Uprising. They'll actually have to play quite aggressively on offense. And all right, they do play the Widow. The Uprising give a fair bit of space though, so this might kind of seem non-intuitive if you're feeling like you're going to be facing down an enemy Widow, but eventually Shockwave and the rest of the Titans will push up to an area of the map where Widow doesn't have this kind of sightline to work with.
Right, I was going to say, as soon as the cart gets in a position, like if you're the Uprising, you can give this up, give this space up, because it's going to go into overtime rather quickly, and then you can kind of play around your positional advantage, and look how far Shockwave is. If like the Tracer or the Genji can access him in the back, there's a really good chance they kill him.
I mean, if you control the server room as the Boston Uprising, I think you're in good shape here. If Shockwave can't fire from there, Widow doesn't really get a good position at all. Punk goes down, KSA finds him there, and the Uprising, this defense, I mean, they had to be decisive, man. There was no doubt about it. They're able to get some stall on the cart here, care of Jerry, who found Shockwave just prior. The Titans have the numbers here.
Who's on the cart? Okay.
Someone is on the cart.
Oh, when both tanks jumped off, I was like, what is this?
Shockwave is on the 76, probably just to get back to the fight in time. That's a gigantic bite of grenade. The Rolf and Kaka clinging to the vestiges of their lives, and still Rolf's able to find Jerry. Now Shredlock chills, he gets a bit of healing back. He'll be able to keep pressuring the Genji. Obviously, Color Hexus is having a tough time dealing with the Winston in general. Has to keep him at arm's length if he can, but the fight needs to be had. There it is, Pulse Bomb. Fusions is down, and now it's going to be a Nano Boost for Color Hex instead. The Blade has to make the difference, but there's a Transcendence in play. No chance to force it out. Still, they get rid of KSA, who was decent at that time, but a Helix Rocket connection on Color Hex takes him out. Dalton there, got to get rid of Punk pretty easily, and the Primal Rage from Shredlock may not have been necessary, but the Titans just wanted to keep playing the damn game, and they'll get checkpoint A.
Okay, so now do the Boston Uprising make any changes? They use a lot of ultimates here. At that first point, they're not able to hold on defense. Going into the next fight, you're going to have a rally for the Titans. You'll have a rally for Boston as well. Does Shockwave go Widow? Okay, so he goes Widow because you want that one-shot kill potential. You know you're nowhere close to a Visor. You know most likely both teams have rally. So maybe you hit a headshot onto one of these flankers, give you an advantage here.
Keep that in mind. That's the win condition right now for the Titans. Early player advantage, but ultimately Shockwave has to fend for himself here. The rest of the Titans are too busy doing, you know, big person stuff, trying to win the game and whatever. Dalton's Pulse Bomb on the high ground doesn't connect. Fusions is able to get to the Primal Rage marker now. It's going to be a rally from Halo. Dalton's trying to set up and pressure Punk down as much as he can, but the Discord Orb has gone over to Fusions, who has used Primal Range. The Tracer's still looking for a way in. Jerry a little low. Dalton looking to finish off the kill, but Jerry continues to elude him. He takes another big clip, but Shredlock has gone down. Another big bite of grenade there. Huge stuff from Myeonbom. Punk's going to be able to chase down KSA before he can get back in the mech, and that looks to be it. That's enough to break the Titans now as they push up with only the Transcendence. Only 3 players are left. Rolf just trying to keep him standing for the time being, but even he has to back away as Color Hex bears down on him with Shurikens Akimbo. Shockwave falls. There's Rolf and Dalton going, and the Titans get more than they bargained for. Or was it the Uprising that did? Either way, 4 checkpoints in 64 meters.
I was going to say, for having only a minute, it is a pretty good push here for the Vancouver Titans. 2 minutes and 24 on the clock for the Boston Uprising to get a little bit more than halfway to checkpoint B. We'll see if they're able to do it. Like checkpoint A, there's a whole lot of time where you can stall out, etc. If you have some ultimates for B, you're in a good spot to win this if you're Vancouver.
Well, yeah, I think if the Titans don't beef their defense, they might be fine. The only reason I could see them sort of wanting to play Soldier again, Matt, is it took so long for Boston to find kills because everyone was so self-sufficient, between the Tracer and the Soldier, and they were so mobile, right? You couldn't pin them down, and you could keep contesting. But they probably want a composition that can just properly flatten the Uprising, and this might be it. The Ash comes in, and Shockwave clearly isn't concerned about having to deal with a Widowmaker.
No, and also, like I mentioned before the game, before this map specifically, just the map differential on how big that'll be for the Titans, and that is only like if they win this map, right? If Boston's able to extend the series, even win the series potentially in like a reverse sweep type of scenario, that whole thing goes out the window for the Titans. So this map is extremely important for this team.
Vancouver, can they hold their ground? The Uprising have the time bank advantage, but now we get to see the Titans not trolling anymore. That's kind of exciting. Fusion's cops a little bit of damage early on. We'll see where Colorhex goes with this. He wants this high ground control, but there's going to be a little bit more than he bargained for if he runs into the Brigitte. Treadlock gets a Harmony Orb, but he's not satisfied with just that. He backs up.
I like the idea of playing close here at the beginning for the Titans, just buying a little bit more time on the overall clock. That's all it's really about for Vancouver. Just bleed the clock, get it into OT, have an ultimate advantage, give yourself a chance to win the map. As KSA, nice play, dropped down to contest the cart. Now look at how much time Boston's going to have to take, right? They have to go to the high ground here. They're going to have to battle it out, feel each other out for a bit. Even if Boston were to win this fight pretty handily, they're still going to burn another like 30 seconds off the clock getting the card, and then Titans can fight another time.
Nano Boost is available for Myeongbong here. And he's going to let it go onto Fusions. No Primal Rage, but still the Winston's able to take that high ground. Oh dear, the Titans are split in half now. Shredlock doesn't know what's coming for him, and they don't have a Nano of their own. That was nicely played. Fusions bisects the entirety of the Titans there just by being nanoed and standing in the middle of them. Now the Titans, is there a recovery option here? Recall already used for Dalton. Pulse! The stick's there, but Fusions is too healthy for that to bother him.
You can definitely fight this again if you're Vancouver. You just have your Winston back in the mix. You have both supports here, and you're going to have a Bob. So Bob will get onto the cart, contest it for a second.
Oh, Colorhex deflect there, keeps himself alive, gets a bit of healing. Jerry stunned, had to recall just in time. The stick, oh, it's poetry in motion. Jerry drops down, but Shredlock's able to find him there. The Discord Orb really helping, and that's the difference maker for the Titans. Myeongbong has yet another nano boost. This time it's Colorhex who may be the recipient. It is. It's time for the blade, and he gets to the high ground, climbs up to Winston's there, but very quickly Shredlock jumps out of the way. He couldn't stay alive until he got the Primal Rage, though, and now the Titans are down there. Winston, Shredlock has been removed. Fusions has a Primal, but gets hacked. The Sombra now starting to become a factor. Fusions chase inside the side room, but gets enough time to find his Primal. Stunned immediately, though, as he steps out to the cart. Colorhex is down.
Oh, the hack!
Wolf's able to find him from the back corner. That's huge. Genji's out of the pitch now. Rolf is continuing to send in those orbs. Shockwave has been removed, but he's close to a nano. If he gets another fight, we're running out of time now for the Uprising. They've got to go. Shredlock's Primal Rage finds Halo, and Dalton gets into the backside, hit with the Binding Orb. Recall is there. Fusions desperately had to get towards the cart, but Rolf is standing tall. Dalton's been removed. Jerry finds him. Shredlock now trying to stay alive on the cart here. We're deep in overtime, and Colorhex returns with the Soldier 76. The Vancouver Titans, are they going to do this? Punk gets desuited by the self-destruct, and Jerry's going to hang on the cart for as low as he can. A desperate Biotic Field dropped by Colorhex. Not enough to keep him alive. The Sombra's back, and Shockwave has an EMP. Lets it go, but Jerry avoids it by recalling just in time. He's down, and that's overtime.
Wow.
What a comeback from the Titans on Gibraltar. This is the kind of Overwatch we didn't think we'd see from them, but I'm bloody glad we did.
Crazy end to that map, but that's where the Titans, right, with getting all of that progress into the middle of point B, they did a great job. I thought it was a perfect strategy to get onto the cart and play that defense early, buy a lot of time, don't allow them to get under the bridge for free, and just make it muddy, make the fight dirty, like just keep it going for a while.
Just
the Sombra switch was great. Look, I mean, if Boston would have won that fight, what I was about to talk about is that they were still in a really bad spot because they had expended all of their ultimates, and they had an EMP waiting on the other side. So all that was going to happen is you have to play in the cart. You're just going to EMP the people in the cart, just blow them up, and then just win the game for Vancouver. So they played that very, very strong. Nice game today from the Titans.
Yeah, I have to say, look, I mean, Dalton and Shockwave both really stepping up on that map. Jerry is incredible. He ends that map with 24 final blows. I'm pretty sure, again, close to deadlift territory there. Just incredible performance.
Phenomenal player, yeah.
I mean, the timing of his recall, as he knows the EMPs, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, as the EMP comes out, so he doesn't get affected by it, just to try and stay alive in the fight. The way he's recalling into perfect pulse bomb placement, like, say what you like about these two teams, but that last fight in those last couple of rounds is some excellent Overwatch and some great showcasing of what great comms can look like. You know, we're not restricted by any sort of hero pools. But I have to say, Matt, the glue that has really held together the Vancouver Titans over the course of this series for me is going to be our player of the match presented by Xfinity, none other than KSA.
Yeah, the damage dealers for the Titans today were good, as expected, but I think KSA was a big factor in their win today. Really strong Diva performance. He seemed to be everywhere. Whether it's like the defensive positions, being able to get back with the defense matrix, or playing aggressive with his diving damage dealers. I thought KSA really was a bright spot today.
Yeah, very impressive from Vancouver, and the fact that they come back there from a big deficit. And yeah, I guess, it was a little bit of a blooper for them on defense the first time around with that Soldier 76, but you mentioned it, Matt, like, you make it muddy, make it dirty, drag these fights out. We saw Shockwave return on the Soldier 76 and just stayed alive. Then, then the Sombra came out. Whatever had to be thrown into the mix was there, and we're starting to see an immense depth here on that Titans roster. And Rolf going towards the Zenyatta is incredibly clever. Put pressure on Fusions, make it hard for this Winston to stay alive, even with Nano Boost, with all the focus fire coming in. And Fusions got punished, man. He got that is a brutal map for him to play on Winston.
It's difficult to play Winston as it is, and then you're playing it into Zen Break. It is even it's even more difficult, right? Just so much burst damage. With Discord stun, and you're basically dead. Especially if they're playing like a 76, right? So. This will get the Titans, by the way, to the Summer Showdown. It'll get them to 2-1. It'll get them to that +3 in terms of map differential, and right now that is currently good for 4th place. We still have some more games to be played, obviously, in the Summer Showdown, where the Atlanta Reigns sit at 1-1 and +1. They play the Titans tomorrow, so the Titans do have an extra match, like I mentioned, but because they're so behind in the schedule, it doesn't count towards the Summer Showdown standings. It'll count towards the overall season standings. And then the Gladiators, who we'll see coming up soon, they're 1-1 with a 0 in terms of map differential as well. So they have a chance to potentially, in the next series, catch up to the Titans.
Yeah, if they're able to sweep the Washington Justice, then they'll be in a similar position there as well. For Boston, a bit more of a grim outlook for them. I'm pretty sure they're confirmed for the play-in match there. So going winless here so far in the Summer Showdown means that they'll have to fight for their chance to play in Week 4's matches.
Yeah, right now, Uprising sit at 0-3, -7 in terms of the map differential. And then the Justice sit at 0-2. So if the Justice were to lose, let's say, to the Gladiators, you would see that matchup in your 12-13. As the Toronto Defiant, they got to win in the Summer Showdown, so they're 1-2.
Yep, so the good news is we're going to get plenty more of the Vancouver Titans over the coming days and weeks, in fact. And right now, you're going to get more of it here. We are going to go to an interview, going to hear some words from Shockwave, who's with Zoe.
We will indeed. Thank you so much, guys. Shockwave, welcome to the show, and congratulations for that W.
Thanks. Hello.
Well, that was an insane match, and it really came down to the wire. Maybe let's discuss what just happened on Gibraltar. How did you and your team manage to edge it out in the end there?
I don't know. It was awkward because we didn't expect like a double dive, like a Tracer Genji. So we got kind of surprised on the first defense. And then on the second we tried with Ash, and I came back with Sombra. I don't know. We were just panic picking at that time. But I think today we were the better team, so I think that's why
you guys definitely were, and it was an absolute blast to watch you guys play. You just said you didn't really expect that Genji. We did see a lot of the other teams today, so far at least, play around that Genji due to the recent buff to him, etc. Was your strat specifically tailored to your opponents, or was that just generally what you felt is your meta comp as of right now?
I think we mainly made our comps what suits us best, definitely. I think it was also in our favor because we're somewhat like still new and rookies, so to say. So I think just finding a comp that suits our playstyle and we're confident on is better for now, at least, than playing like what might be meta or what might be better. But for us, it's definitely just about picking confident heroes. So.
Yeah, and I mean, you did look confident on that composition. Now, moving into the Summer Showdown, how far do you think this composition will get you, considering that you did, in the end, struggle a little bit with having that Genji thrown at you?
I don't know. No clue, man. Honestly, we were just thinking about like winning this Boston match, and I haven't even thought like like anything beyond that.
I mean, that's good.
So,
Hard focus
yeah.
on the now and get
Yeah.
through that. And this victory actually guaranteed you now a top 8 finish for the Summer Showdown. And that means that you will be definitely in a position where you will be picking your opponents. Are there any specific players or teams you really want to play against in that first round of the Summer Showdown?
I want to play Glads really bad.
All
Just
right, why is
because
that?
of like friendships and stuff. So I would say
Is that
Glads.
friendships
for
or
sure.
are there enemies then? No, you want to play against your friends.
I mean, I guess you could say a bit of both.
Bit of both. The best friends
Yeah.
make the best enemies. That is a
True.
fact. Well, Shockwave, thank you so much. It's been a blast watching you play, and it's been an absolute joy to have you here on our show as well.
Alright, thanks.
And we can't wait to see you guys play again tomorrow. For now, we're heading into a very quick break, and then we are back with the last match of the day, the Washington Justice and the LA Gladiators. Don't go anywhere.